Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyadi Pashatai Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, welcome everyone for today morning reading. We are reading from Bhagavad Gita, 16th chapter, verse number 1 to 3. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, what are the qualities of a divine being are discussed. There are 26 qualities, and the Lord Krishna says, Abhayam Sattva Samshuddha Jnana Yoga Vashastiti Vayavastiti Dhanam Damascha Yajnascha Swadhyayastapa Arjavam Ahimsa Satyam Akrodha Tyaga Shantir Apaishunam Dayabhuteshu Loluptvam Madhavam Vir Achapalam Tejas Shamadati Saucham Adroho Nati Manita Bhavanti Sampadam Devim Abhijatasya Bharata. So these are 26 qualities. Abhayam, fearlessness. Sattva Samshuddha. I'll give you my way of looking at this verse, just to give connection in these adjectives. Sattva Samshuddha is path of self-realization, aspiring for purification. So Abhayam is not properly close. There's still sound coming. So Abhayam Sattva Samshuddha, just to help you make a connection here, fearlessness on the path of self-realization. Will not go down to Maya. Whatever happens, will fight the battle of Sattva Samshuddha. Jnana Yoga Vayavastiti. Vayavastiti means situated with devotional knowledge, and yoga means relationship with the Lord. Jnana Yoga Vayavastiti. Dhanam Damascha Yajnascha. Dhanam means charity. Charity. Damas means proper right mind control. You can say mind control, sense control. So charity, Damascha Yajnascha. So the Yajna is charity and mind control. This is not charity. Swadhyayastapa Arjavam. Swadhyaya, to read Vedic scriptures every day, and Arjavam, to live a simple life, is an austerity for the modern age, like that. Ahimsa, Sathyam, Akrodhas. The non-violence is not to get angry at others, Akrodhas, and be truthful, Satyam. Tyaga, Shantir Apaishanam. Tyaga is to voluntarily give up. What to give up? Apaishunam, not to find fault with others. Give up fault finding in others. Tyagaha, and that's what leads to Shantihi. That's the meaning here. Daya Bhuteshu Aloluptvam. Daya Bhuteshu, being kind to others. We can only be kind to others when we are not greedy. If dil mange more, then it leads to conflict. So Daya Bhuteshu Aloluptvam. Aloluptvam means not greedy. Madhavam, soft-hearted. Hirir. What does the meaning of Hirir? Modesty. Achapalam. Achapalam means fixed, being determined, and practicing kind-heartedness and modesty. Tejaha, Shama, Dhriti, Saucham. Shama means forgiveness. Dhriti means intelligence. Dhriti is determination. Dhriti is valor. Saucham is cleanliness. Tejam is opulence. These are the opulences. Adroho nati manita. Adroha. Adroho means freedom from envy. Nati manita, when it can happen, when we do not expect recognition or respect from others, which means adroha nati manita, like this. So these are 26 qualities described by Lord Shri Krishna, which defines the character of a divine being. So it's going to be a good long purpose. So let's try to read it and see what Prabhupada says for each of these qualities. Krishna Chandrapur, you want to begin? We can begin with you and then take everyone else to read it.
In the beginning of the 15th chapter, the banyan tree of this material world was explained. The extra roots coming out of it were compared to the activities of the living entities, some auspicious, some inauspicious. In the 9th chapter also, the devas or godly and the asuras, the ungodly or demons, were explained. Now, according to Vedic rites, activities in the mode of goodness are considered auspicious for progress on the path of liberation. And such activities are known as Daivi Prakriti, transcendental by nature. Those who are situated in the transcendental nature make progress on the path of liberation. For those who are acting in the mode of passion and ignorance, on the other hand, there is no possibility of liberation. Either they will have to remain in this material world as human beings, or they will descend among the species of animals or even lower life forms. In this 16th chapter, the Lord explains both the transcendental nature and its attendant qualities, and the demonic nature and its qualities. He also explains the advantages and disadvantages of these qualities. Continue?
Yes, one more paragraph.
The word abhijajya is in reference to one born of transcendental qualities or godly tendencies is very significant. To beget a child in a godly atmosphere is known in the Vedic scripture as Garbhadana Samskara. If the parents want a child in godly qualities, they should follow the 10 principles recommended for the social life of the human being. In Bhagavad Gita, we have studied also before that sex life of begetting a good child is Krishna himself. Sex life is not condemned, provided the process is used in Krishna consciousness. Those who are in Krishna consciousness at least should not beget children like cats and dogs, but should beget them so that they may become Krishna consciousness after birth. That should be the advantage of children born of a father and mother absorbed in Krishna consciousness.
Hare Krishna. We can have somebody else now read. We can, Mother Madhavni, go ahead. Read the next 2 paragraphs.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandat Pranam. The social institution known as Varnashrama Dharma, the institution dividing the society into 4 divisions of social life and 4 occupational divisions or castes, is not meant to divide human society according to birth. Such divisions are in terms of educational qualifications. They are to keep the society in a state of peace and prosperity. The qualities mentioned herein are explained as transcendental qualities meant for making a person progress in spiritual understanding so that he can get liberated from the material world. In the Varnashrama institution, the sannyasi or the person in the renounced order of life is considered to be the head or the spiritual master of all the other social statuses and orders. A Brahmana is considered to be the spiritual master of the 3 other sections of a society, namely the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, and the Shudras. But a sannyasi who's on the top of the institution is considered to be the spiritual master of the Brahmanas also. For a sannyasi, the first qualification should be fearlessness. Because a sannyasi has to be alone without any support or guarantee of support, he has simply to depend on the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If one thinks, after I leave my connections, who will protect me? He should not accept the renounced order of life. One must be fully convinced that Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his localized aspect as Paramatma, is always within, that he is seeing everything and he always knows what one intends to do. One must thus have firm conviction that Krishna as Paramatma will take care of a soul surrendered to him. I shall never be alone, one should think. Even if I live in the darkest regions of a forest, I shall be accompanied by Krishna and he will give me all protection. That conviction is called abhayam, fearlessness. This state of mind is necessary for a person in the renounced order of life. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Oh, there it is. Hare Krishna. Mother Priyanka, go ahead.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat
Yes,
Pranam.
yes, please read.
Then he has to purify his existence. There are so many rules and regulations to be followed in the renounced order of life. Most important of all, a sannyasi is strictly forbidden to have any intimate relationship with a woman. He is even forbidden to talk with a woman in a secluded place. Lord Chaitanya was an ideal sannyasi, and when he was at Puri, his feminine devotees could not even come near to offer his respects. They were advised to bow down from a distant place. This is not a sign of hatred for women as a class, but it is a stricture imposed on the sannyasi not to have a close connections with women. One is to follow the rules and regulations of a particular status of life in order to purify his existence. For a sannyasi, intimate relationship with women and possession of wealth for sense gratification are strictly forbidden. The ideal sannyasi was Lord Chaitanya himself, and we can learn from his life that he was very strict in regards to women. Although he is considered to be the most liberal incarnation of Godhead, accepting the most fallen conditioned soul, he strictly followed the rules and regulations of the sannyasa order in life in connection with association with women. One of his personal associates, namely Chota Haridas, was associated with Lord Chaitanya along with his other confidential friend personal associates, but somehow or about other, this Chota Haridas looked less lustily to a young woman, and the Lord Chaitanya was so strict that he at once rejected him from the society of his personal associates. Lord Chaitanya said, for a sannyasi or anyone who is aspiring to get out of the clutches of material nature and trying to elevate himself to the spiritual nature and go back home, back to Godhead, for him, looking towards material possessions and women for sense gratification, not even enjoying them, but just looking towards them with such a propensity, is so condemned that he has better commit suicide before experiencing such illicit desires. So these are the processes for purification.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Mother Radhika, please continue. Next two paragraphs.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. The next item is Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti, being engaged in the cultivation of knowledge. Sannyasi life is meant for distributing knowledge to the householders and others who have forgotten their real life or spiritual advancement. A sannyasi is supposed to beg from door to door for his livelihood, but this does not mean that he is a beggar. Humility is also one of the qualifications of a transcendentally situated person, and out of sheer humility, the sannyasi goes from door to door, not exactly for the purpose of begging, but to see the householders and awaken them to Krishna consciousness. This is the duty of a sannyasi. If he is actually advanced and so ordered by his spiritual master, he should preach Krishna consciousness with logic and understanding. And if one is not so advanced, he should not accept the renounced order of life. But even if one has accepted the renounced order of life without sufficient knowledge, he should engage himself fully in hearing from a bona fide spiritual master to cultivate knowledge. A sannyasi or one in the renounced order of life must be situated in fearlessness, sattva samshuddhi, and jnana yoga, knowledge. The next item is charity. Charity is meant for householders. The householders should earn a livelihood by an honorable means and spend 50% of their income to propagate Krishna consciousness all over the world. Thus, a householder should give in charity to institutional societies that are engaged in that way. Charity should be given to the right receiver. There are different kinds of charity, as will be explained later on. Charity, the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Charity, the mode of goodness, is recommended by scriptures, but charity, the mode of passion and ignorance, is not recommended because it is simply a waste of time. Charity should be given only to propagate Krishna consciousness all over the world. That is charity in the mode of goodness. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We'll read about this aspects later on the 17th chapter. Let's go for the next one. Damaha, self-control, mind or the sense-control. Mother Sangeeta, you can read. And others who would like to read, if they want, they can raise their hands. Hare Krishna. Continue.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Then as far as Dhamma, self-control is concerned, it is not only meant for the other orders of religious society, but is specially meant for the householder. Although he has a wife, a householder should not use his senses for sex life unnecessarily. There are restrictions for the householders even in sex life, which should only be engaged in for the propagation of children. If he does not require children, he should not enjoy sex life with his wife. Modern society enjoys sex life with contraceptive methods for more abominable methods to avoid the responsibility of children. This is not in the transcendental quality, but in demonic. If anyone, even if he is a householder, wants to make a progress in spiritual life, he must control his sex life and he should not beget children the purpose of serving Krishna. If he is able to beget children who will be Krishna consciousness, who can produce hundreds of children, but without his capacity, one should not indulge only for sense pleasure.
Continue.
Sacrifice is another item to be performed by the householders because sacrifices require a large amount of money. Those in other orders of life, namely Brahmacharya, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa, have no money. They live by begging. So performance of different types of sacrifice is meant for the householders. They should perform Agnihotra sacrifices as enjoined in the Vedic literature, but such sacrifices at the present moment are very expensive, and it is not possible for any householder to perform them. The best sacrifice recommended in this age is called Sankirtan Yagna. This Sankirtan Yagya, the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, is the best and the most inexpensive sacrifice. Everyone can adopt it and derive benefit. These three items, namely charity, sense control, and performance of sacrifice, are meant for the householder. Then Swadhyaya Vedic study is meant for brahmacharya or student life. Brahmacharis should not have no connection with women. They should live a life of celibacy and engage the mind in the study of Vedic literature of cultivation of spiritual knowledge. This is called Swadhyaya. Tapas of austerity is specially meant for the retired life. One should not remain a householder throughout his whole life. He must always remember that there are 4 divisions of life: Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. So after Grahastha, the householder life, one should retire. If one lives for 100 years, he should spend 25 years in student life, 25 a householder life, 25 in retired life, and 25 in the renounced order of life. These are the regulations of the Vedic religious discipline. A man retired from household life must practice austerities of the body, mind, and tongue. That is tapasya. The entire Vanashrama Dharma society is meant for tapasya. Without tapasya and austerity, no human being can get liberation. The theory that there is no need of austerity in life, that one can go on speculating and everything will be nice, and recommended neither in the Vedic literature nor in Bhagavad Gita. Such theories are manufactured by show bottle spiritualists who are trying to gather more followers. If there are restrictions, rules, and regulations, people will not become attached. Therefore, Those who want followers in the name of religion just to have a show only don't restrict the lives of their students, nor their own lives, but that method is not approved by the Vedas.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mother. Ravi Prabhu, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandot Pranam.
So the sole purport is very self-explanatory. Prabhupada have described all these qualities wonderfully, so we're just reading through it. Go ahead, Ravi Prabhu.
As far as the Brahminical quality of simplicity is concerned, not only should a particular order of life follow this principle, but every member, be he in the Brahmachari ashram, Grahastha ashram, Vanaprastha ashram, or Sannyas ashram, one should be very simple and straightforward. Ahimsa means not arresting the progressive life of any living entity. One should not think that since the spirit spark is never killed, even after the killing of the body, there is no harm in killing animals for sense gratification. People are now addicted to eating animals in spite of having an ample supply of grains, fruits, and milk. There is no necessity for animal killing. This injunction is for everyone. When there is no alternative, one may kill an animal, but it should be offered in sacrifice. At any rate, when there is an ample food supply for humanity, persons who are desiring to make advancement in spiritual realization should not commit violence to animals. Real ahimsa means not checking anyone's progressive life. The animals are also making progress in their evolutionary life by transmigrating from one category of animal life to another. If a particular animal is killed, then his progress is checked. If an animal is staying in a particular body for so many days or so many years and he is untimely killed, then he has to come back again in that form of life to complete the remaining days in order to be promoted to another species of life. So their progress should not be checked simply to satisfy one's palate. This is called ahimsa.
Hare
Satyam.
Krishna.
Krishna.
Interesting point, huh? If an animal is killed prematurely before the lifespan gets over, then the animal would have to come back, that living entity would have to come back into the same species again to complete the remaining days in order to be promoted to another species of life. This is how the laws of this creation functions. Interesting. Go ahead, Satyam.
Satyam. This word means that one should not distort the truth for some personal interest. In Vedic literature, there are some difficult passages, but the meaning or the purpose should be learned from a bona fide spiritual master. That is the process for understanding the Vedas. Shruti means that one should hear from the authority. One should not construe some interpretation for his personal interest. There are so many commentaries on Bhagavad Gita that misinterpret the original text. The real import of the word should be presented, and that should be learned from a bona fide spiritual master.
Continue.
Akrodha means to check anger. Even if there is provocation, one should be tolerant. For once one becomes angry, his whole body becomes polluted. Anger is a product of the mode of passion and lust, so one who is transcendentally situated should check himself from anger. Apayashunam means that one should not find fault with others or correct them unnecessarily. Or, of course, to call a thief is not fault finding, but to call an honest person a thief is very much offensive for one who is making advancement in spiritual life. Re means that one should be very modest and must not perform some act which is abominable. Achapalam, determination, means that one should not be agitated or frustrated in some attempt. There may be failure in some attempt, but one should not be sorry for that. He should make progress with patience and determination. The word tejas used here is meant for the Kshatriyas. The Kshatriyas should always be very strong to be able to give protection to the weak. They should not pose themselves as non-violent. If violence is required, they must exhibit it. But a person who is able to curb down his enemy may, under certain conditions, show forgiveness. He may excuse minor offenses. Shaucha
Hare Krishna.
means Hare Krishna.
We can have Mother Yagya. Go ahead. Read the last two paragraphs. Saucha.
Pranam Prabhuji. Shaucha. Shaucha means cleanliness, not only mind and body, but in one's dealing also. It is especially meant for the mercantile people who should not deal in the black market. Nati Manita, not expecting honor, applies to the Shudras, the worker class, who are considered, according to Vedic injunctions, to be the lowest of the four classes. They should not be puffed up with unnecessary prestige or honor and should remain in their own status. It is the duty of the Shudras to offer respect to the higher class for the upkeep of the social order. All these 26 qualifications mentioned are transcendental qualities. They should be cultivated according to the different statuses of social and occupational order. And the purport is that even though material conditions are miserable, if these qualities are developed by practice by all classes of men, then gradually it is possible to rise to the highest platform of transcendental realization.
Hare Krishna. So here I have an homework for all of you. So looks like all these qualities, they have a correlation with the Varnashrama. In other words, if you are a Brahmana, this is the predominant thing that you should be practicing, and other becomes secondary. So it's an exercise for all of you to go ahead and read this purport again and classify as many of these qualities as primary and secondary, as Prabhupada has said, based on their ashram. Not ashram, sorry, the social order. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, like that. And of course, for ashram also, Prabhupada has said, Brahmacharya, Swadhyaya, etc. For Grahastha, they should follow the principle of charity. Let's map this out. Because in third chapter, there is a beautiful verse comes when Krishna is talking about the importance of doing, performing karma yoga. There Krishna says it is better to perform one's duty faultily than to perform else's dharma perfectly. So let's little bit get situated in our own varnashrama first, and then understand, being in particular ashram or varna, what is my responsibility. Let's do that, because I guess there's something where we need to align ourselves. Could be worthy of exercise. So please do this and send me the thing, your document. And if you do so, then tomorrow when we meet next, we'll begin our introduction session from that. Best is it could be one document or a presentation, single slide like that. Okay, let's take it forward. It's already 7:10, so what I can say. So anyways, just to give you a little summary of what happens ahead now. So now from text number 4, Krishna speaks about the qualities of Kali Yuga Prani. Oh, I mean to say the demonic people. By default, I guess Kali Yuga Prani are into this category by default. So I'm not so wrong also saying that. So text number 4 would be that. Let's use the translation of the verse for text number 4. Dambhadarpa abhimana cha krodaha parusham cha ajnanam cha vijatasya pata sampadamasurim. Dambh, हम किसी से कम नहीं. Pride, arrogance. Abhiman. Interesting. This almost sound like same, arrogance, pride, and abhiman, but there are differences. Prabhupada describes, later on we'll see. So conceit, krodha, angry, parushyam, harshness of speech, ajnanam, ignorance, abhijatasya, one who is born with such qualities is said to be sampadam. One who has this as a sampatti, such person is recognized as asura, demoniac. Arrogance, pride, anger, conceit, harshness, and ignorance, these qualities belong to those of demoniac nature, O son of Pratha. Okay, small purport, let me read out. Text number 4 purport. In this verse, the royal road to hell is described. Hare Krishna. So those who are on this path, they know where they're going now. The demonic want to make a show of religion and advancement in spiritual science, although they do not follow the principles. They are always arrogant or proud and possessing some type of education or so much wealth. Janma Ishwarya, Shuta Ashib, Edaman, Madhapuman. They desire to be worshipped by others and demand respectability, although they do not command respect. Over trifles, they become very angry and speak harshly, not gently. They do not know what should be done and what should not be done. They do everything whimsically according to their own desire, and they do not recognize any authority. These demonic qualities are taken on by them from the beginning of their bodies in the wombs of their mothers. And as they grow, they manifest all these inauspicious qualities. Hare Krishna. Next, number 5. Daivi sampad vimokshaya nibandhaya suribata masrucha sampadam daivam abhijatosi pandava. The transcendental qualities are conducive to liberation, whereas the demonic qualities make for bondage. Do not worry, O son of Pandu. Masucha sampadam daivam. Do not worry, Masucha, hey Arjuna. Sampadam Daivim, you are born with Daivam qualities. Abhijato Asi. Abhijatasya means born. A Pandu, or son of, a Pandava, a son of Pandu, you are born with Daivam Sampatti. Like that. The purport, Lord Krishna encouraged Arjuna by telling him that he was not born with demonic qualities. His involvement in the fight was not demonic because he was considering the pros and cons. He was considering whether respectable persons such as Bhima Drona should be killed or not. So he was not acting under the influence of anger, false prestige, or harshness. Of the demons. For a Kshatriya, military man shooting arrows at the enemy is considered transcendental, and refraining from such a duty is demoniac. Therefore, there was no cause for Arjuna to lament. Anyone who performs the regulated principles of different orders of life is transcendently situated. Very important. This is what we have given you as an exercise to go back and focus on the qualities which Krishna discussed in the first 3 verses of the 16th chapter. And based on Prabhupada purport, classify into Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, or Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasi. And let's see what qualities are for us as a primary that we should be cultivating. All right. So hopefully some of you will do this exercise as your time permit, which means you have to go back and read